speaker system tonight, they were a little afraid of getting electrocuted when they put it out because we had some really interesting weather there. But the weather spirits have decided to give us a little break in the proceedings and allow us to have our march as usual, which I really appreciate. I think some people did get a little frightened by the weather and perhaps by the tornado watch that was out for a little bit. So they may have gone directly to the church. And that's fine. We will meet them there. But I thank you, hearty souls, that came out here to do the March in Silence, because it has a lot of meaning. There's a reason why we march in silence, which you will understand from Cora's beautiful poem written many, many years ago to commemorate this night and this remembrance that we do for victims of domestic violence who have lost their lives this year due to domestic violence. So we appreciate the march. We appreciate the marchers. It's not a long march, but it's an important step. And the fact that it is done in silence reminds you all how difficult it is to keep silent, even for the short time that it takes you to get to the Unitarian Church. And imagine living in silence about what's going on in your personal life all the time when you're living in violence and you're being abused constantly but can speak to no one about it. So that's what we're here to do tonight. We're here to speak for those victims, to be their voices, to remember them. And I think you will all, I'm glad that you will all take part in the vigil service this evening. It's a very moving service every year, and we really appreciate you being here and being with us tonight to do this. I'm now going to turn it over to Cora, who will, once you hear this beautiful poem, you'll understand why it's important to make this march and why it's important that we maintain silence.
In 2002, I had already been doing marches of silence in Providence and in Fall River. And in 2002, I was approached by the Women's Center and asked, can we do one of your marches here? And I really, at that time, I was so naive, I thought we could really eradicate domestic violence across the board. I'm a little jaded now. I've been in the field for over 20 years, but it's, you know, as tonight approached and we were having tornado warnings and hail was falling, and I'm like, we've never canceled the march before. And I'm like, we have to. And you know, I soon heard that we were going to go forward with the march to the church. And it reminded me that you don't get a day off just because it's lousy weather. If you're living in fear in your own home, there is no time off. There is no day off. And it's really difficult to walk in silence because you want to talk to the person next to you. But the people that are living in fear in their silence in their own homes, I want you to honor them with your silence. The March of Silence is something I've been reading since 1993. Have you heard the footsteps of the March of Silence? Within our neighborhoods, behind closed doors, mothers and children tiptoe on eggshells, afraid to speak for fear, afraid to cry for fear, afraid to ask for help. Their silence is deafening to my ears. Can you hear the terrified woman's breath as her heart pounds in her thoughts, all the while trying to quiet her children so that their father won't hear them, as they blame themselves for his anger, for his drinking, for everything. Each time he hits them, he blames them for making him hate them. When there is another day, he promises not to do it again, if only they'll change. Will they ever forget what has happened? For all of the women and children who live in fear and silence, tonight we walk in your honor. We hear the pain in your whispers. We feel the ache in your soul, the betrayal, the shame. Please hear us. We believe in your future. We will be there for you when you are ready to walk out of the silence. You are not alone. We believe in you and in the journey you walk. Tonight, as we march in silence, we will listen to the echo of your voice, hearing your every word. Now let us begin the March of Silence.
you know what